we have some big news from the Batman.
Yeah.
Basically, we have a couple of actors who have been listed to be interested in playing the part of Two-Face or Harvey Dent.
Right.
Do you want to?
So this is coming from Jeff Snyder, who has broken a lot of things that have been true. So I'm going to take this as it's probably true.
Okay.
But when we talk about the James Gunn stuff coming up next,
Right.
I'll also say, like, he specifically said in that podcast, there's a lot of things that have been said that are not true.
A lot, yeah.
So, but we'll just, under the assumption that this is true, they're looking at Josh Hartnett and Joel Edgerton to play Harvey Dent, Two-Face, which apparently, because he was talking with John Roca, that it's to play Dent throughout the movie and maybe becomes Two-Face.
In like the next movie?
Or at the end.
At the end?
That's just speculation.
I mean, that would be very Dark Knight, but...
Yeah. Well, but that's just the way that Two-Face
story goes. Yeah.
In the Long Halloween, I mean, that's how it goes. You know?
Yeah, I
guess. He's Harvey Dent and then he becomes Two-Face by the end of...
But I kind of like the idea of like how Tim Burton was going to do it. You know, how he kind of like basically set up the character in the first movie. And then by the third movie, he was going to like actually introduce Two-Face.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been cool. And I think like planting him in the universe early on would have been nice to see in the Batman. But yeah, if that's how the story goes, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, both actors are in their 40s.
Yeah.
So quite not too much older than where like Pattinson's Batman's character is aged, I think. Because what would you say his Bruce Wayne is at, like late 20s?
Yeah, at the most. Right. So maybe like 27, 28. So
I think he'll be, I don't know what his relationship will be with Bruce because, you know, for the most part, like Harvey's like a friend with Bruce, right? So maybe it'll still be like that, but maybe it won't. But
I think it could be because, you know, like the theme and I guess like what's leading out of the first Batman movie is that I think Bruce Wayne is going to be a much more prominent like public figure. And so I think like he'll just naturally make that connection with Harvey Dent. But
it'll be interesting. I am interested because they have what you're saying, and then they also the mayor who gets elected in the Batman, like the first movie.
Right.
She kind of took on the role of what I would assume like the Harvey Dent would be, right? Because he's like the bright, shining, you know, new district attorney, which I'm sure could definitely still fit in.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is I don't know Josh Hartnett too well.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you knew anything he'd done.
Not really. No. But Joel Edgerton is great.
Yeah, we know him from Star Wars. So
he's Uncle Owen.
Yep.
He was in Zero Dark 30. He was in a great
I've seen Zero Dark 30.
Great MMA movie.
Oh yeah.
Called Warrior, which is so good.
Is he main character or is he not?
Yeah, it's him and Tom Hardy.
Oh,
and
nice.
they're brothers.
Okay.
And Tom's like a veteran and who's like feels like he's like he needs to like prove something, and then Joel is this like teacher who's like got a mortgage that he can't pay, and they're brothers, and then they end up facing off against each other.
Ooh,
so this is for Joel. He's like got to get the money,
right.
And then so it's so good.
That sounds good,
really good. But I love Two-Face. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. I really hope, though if he's done really well, it could be a fantastic movie if he's like the main villain. But I am kind of hoping that there is another villain.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I was like, do you think that's enough for the Batman story? Like to just be dealing with, you know, turn politician to like, you know, criminal Two-Face, or do you need like the Penguin in there and maybe like Mr. Freeze?
See, I've been loving the idea of Mr. Freeze.
So have I, man. It's like just the fact that you could transition the flood of the first movie into him like freezing the entire city would just be amazing. Like,
well, that's a little too fantastic.
I don't know. I mean,
for this universe, that's a little. I don't know if I love that. I like more the idea that Mr. Freeze, if we're really gonna, try to do it like grounded, has a condition that he has to take a certain medication or be in some sort of environment so that he doesn't die, whatever that may be, and that the whole story is about him trying to save his wife Nora. It's a great idea, because I think that there's a way to plausibly be like, I have a condition, right? Like the same way that like the Joker in Joker was like, I have this nervous laugh sort of thing. So, which I don't know if there's a condition with being
cold
under
and,
like a temperature.
I mean,
but
he could have a disease that like the cold keeps it at bay, right?
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's what I've loved, but I think that there's probably got to be more.
Yeah.
Because something has to happen because Harvey Dent's not going to become Two-Face all by himself. Because I do think like the Maronis are like Salvatore Maroni will probably show up in the second movie. And,
I think more so
he'll be part of like throwing acid on his face or something.
Maybe. I think more so though, I feel like the Penguin is being set up for this movie. Like from what I hear, well,
which
actually,
is also
that's not
paused
true.
indefinitely.
Yes, that's paused until the writer's strike is done. But yeah, like I've at least I've heard that like Pattinson isn't showing up in the Penguin series,
which is fine.
So that's fine, but I still think like his story isn't going to be done by the time like the show is done. I think he's going to show back up.
I think Penguin will be ruling the city pretty much. You know what I mean?
In like the underworld of it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there's still like a bit of a rivalry with some other, like the Maroni family or whatever.
Yeah, have we seen the Maronis?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Just mentioned that like it might have been them who killed.
But we know it. I mean, I don't know. At least from what like Alfred said, we know it was Falcone. Spoilers, sorry guys.
Oh yeah. It just feels like everyone's seen that movie. Who wants to see it, right?
Agreed. I feel like if you wanted to see it by this point, you would have.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess that's all my thoughts on these two. Yeah. I guess I would be happier to see Joel Egerton play. Is that how you pronounce his name, right?
Edgerton, I guess.
I don't know. I'd rather see him because I know that actor, but I think the other guy looks fine.
Yeah.